Indeed we have. So we've just found, well, Aubrey just found little Hosana, and he is moving through what can only be described as the longest of long grass. And so he's just behind here somewhere. We did have a quick view of him, and then he started ambling along. There he is. So he's just moving a little bit in front of us. He should pop out on a nice little pathway straight ahead. So he's going to come out just on the left-hand side. Then he's looking as good as ever. So it's thank goodness we had little spots in our life, because we were starting to get into that situation where withdrawal symptoms were becoming a very real thing. The problem is the thickest grass in the world is where he's walking at the moment. So I've got to try and figure out a way to try and get to where he is, as well as not destroy the front of Jigger on what seems like a stump somewhere here. Oh, there it is. That's the problem with grass like this, is you can't see stumps and you can't see holes, and there are a lot of both in this particular area. So I'm just going to try and follow the big pathway that we've got, because that's hopefully an area where things like elephants and hippos and buffalo will following. Now, I believe a lot of you are super excited that we've got Hosana. It's very, very cool, because he's coming out of Torchwood and he's coming into Djuma now and heading deeper in. Although I've lost him now. Where did he go? He was here somewhere. Hopefully we'll be able to find him. Just got to pay a little bit of attention to where I'm driving, because like I was saying, the grass is so long, I cannot see any stumps or holes or anything like that. And it makes it then a little bit more difficult to work out exactly where I'm driving. Also, I've got to be able to follow him at the same time, so just got to pay a bit of attention here. But you can see how long the grass is. It's over the top of the bonnets these days, which is pretty crazy when you think about it. It's amazing that we went from a situation where we had almost no grass in January to now having grass over the top of the bonnet. But he's somewhere in here on my right-hand side, should be. Where have you gone, little Hosana? Because if he lies down, we're going to lose him in the space of about 2 seconds. It's that thick in here. So my hay fever is going to take a punishment in this long grass as well. Hosana, where did you go? Craig, can you see him anywhere? Ah, there he is, right there. It's a bit of a problem when you're staring into the sun. It's not as easy, but there he comes. So you can see he's still got a roundish belly from his bushbuck kill that he had at Chitra Dam. And I don't even know if he can see where he's going at the moment. He's just kind of plowing through the grass in the hope that maybe he disturbs something. So he's come right up to the front of the car, which is pretty typical for Hosana. And he's busy sniffing around. There's actually a big hole right to our right-hand side, and he almost seems to be smelling. I don't see any tracks going into this hole, but you never know. Maybe he's picking up something that we can't. They do have sensors far beyond what ours are, and so it makes it a lot more difficult for us to know exactly what he's doing. But I think what he's trying to do is, walking in grass like this, is he's trying to sniff out maybe something like a duiker or a steenbok or warthogs, and then he can flush them and try and then chase them from there. So it's a very clever sort of tactic to do, and you can see his ears are perked up, and he's very much the normal, curious Hosana. Strangely enough, there's no buffalo today, so he has been following buffalo around all over the place, but today there are none. I have a funny feeling one day we're going to find Hosana with an aardvark kill. The way that he goes about business and the way that he kind of keeps looking around and he's always curious, I think one day we'll find him digging out an aardvark somewhere along the line. But there he goes. He keeps going and moving off, but he's looking magnificent, isn't he? He's in such good shape. Beautiful, beautiful individual. So really nice that he's still hung around, and the fact that he's kind of still here, even though we've had so much drama in our leopard world, is pretty amazing. Same with Tumba. The two of them still hanging around is absolutely incredible. But let's try and keep up with him, because in this long grass, as you saw just now, he disappears in a heartbeat, and so I don't want to get too far behind, because otherwise we're going to struggle to try and keep up with him at all. Let's just try and kind of go a little bit past this section. I'm just worried that there's a big hole. What's he found? He seems to have spotted something. I wonder if there's no scrub hare that is hiding in here somewhere. You see he's clambering through, and now he's jumped through and just about disappeared. So this is also why we're struggling to find leopard at the moment. You can see, look at that. There is a leopard, a fully grown male leopard. Well, not fully grown, but I mean a big male leopard in amongst that grass, and you cannot see a single thing. It just gives you an idea of the sort of shadows and the camouflage that these leopards possess. Let's try and carry on and just see. Got a little stump that we need to go over. So I'm just trying to see where else we can go, because I don't want to cut Aubrey's view off. Aubrey's obviously got a view and he's got guests with him, so I don't want to cut him off, but they can go past and we'll just try and figure another way through and try and keep up with him. But while we try and do that, let's send you back across to Taylor McCurdy, who is still messing around at Chitwa Dam and now has a whole bunch of hippos. Well, he's still busy moving around in the grass, and it's almost like he spotted something just now, because he kind of froze and went into stalk mode a little bit. But now he's just kind of sitting and still thinking about what his next move is. And he's not in a very pleasant place at the moment. He's in very long grass. And I'm hoping he's going to push just a little further to the west of where we are now, because then it gets onto Batterley or Drakensberg Road, and it should be nice and open from there. In fact, we're not very far from where Tanya and the cub once had a kill that the Birminghams then went up and took, and, well, Tinio in particular, not the Birminghams, and stole. So we're right near that tree, so not too far from at least a little bit more of an open section. Now, Julie, he's probably, at the moment, it's very difficult to say because we don't know where Hukumuri is. I know Hukumuri was seen last night by the guys in the western sector, so around Arathusa, and he was moving towards Djuma. So at the moment, theoretically, Hukumuri could be quite close or he could be quite far. It just depends which way Hukumuri ended up going. He might have turned south towards Hofmans, he might have gone back into Simbambili or EP, or he could be on Djuma itself, and then Hosana would be fairly nearby. But the thing is that it's very, Hukumuri hasn't actually come this far yet, so he's still in a safe zone at the moment. You see, look, he's still stalking something. I wonder what's moving around in here. Something's piquing his interest, and we know with Hosana it could be absolutely anything. It could be a mouse, it could be a tortoise, it could be a monitor lizard. He just doesn't stop with anything. He's always busy, this little cat, and always trying to find food somewhere. He loves his meals, and so I'm sure after a day of not eating, he's now going to try and find food. But it is amazing how quickly they disappear in this grass. The grass is so long that when they get their heads down like that, you really can't see much at all. It becomes just a blur of spots that kind of moves behind the grass itself. So it's no wonder that we are struggling a little bit when it comes to finding these guys. It's not an easy situation at all at the moment. Now, I'm going to just try and reposition ourselves a little bit. There should be a little gap. I can just see a few blades of grass moving here and there. So we'll try and just get a little further forward. Oh, there, hello, boy. Are you going to stand up for us? There we go. You said we said we couldn't see him nicely, so he's just going to pose for all of you to make sure that you can see him in his best. And look how good he's looking. You see his little dewlap that's starting as well. So he's getting a little fold of skin around the neck area that's starting to come down. And now we're going to go up onto the tree and sniff around there. At least he's posing quite nicely now. He's kind of up and out of the grass, which makes a big difference. It's nice when he finds he's kind of fallen over trees. There we go. Hello, boy. Nope, and down we go again. It's not very long that they sit on these things. They use them for a bit of leverage and just to try and get a bit of height advantage. And then they look around and then off he goes. But you can see he's sniffing all over the place. So I wonder what he's picking up. Maybe he's picking up the scent of a little steenbok or a duiker that's been hanging around. It could very well be. They often do find those antelope by using this technique where they try and sniff under bushes and smell and try and scent as much as possible just to try and see exactly where they're going. You'll find that this technique can work because they'll pick up little baby steenbok and duiker that are hiding under the bushes, and then they flush them. And sometimes, you know, with those little animals, is their mechanism for safety is to try and stay still. And so it allows the leopards to actually get very close before they'll try and bolt. And it's a successful tactic to do. We see Tundi doing it a lot as well, where she walks like this through the thickets and literally is just trying to disturb anything as she goes and flushes them out. The dogs do it quite often as well. Good, so let's try and just keep up with him. He's still going away from us at the moment. So we're going to try and just maneuver through this long grass and these thickets. One has to be quite careful. There's lots of fallen over stumps all over the place, and when you get this round leaf teak, you often get little stumps in amongst the round leaf teak, so you got to be a bit careful about the way that you drive. Let's check. Where did he go? He was on my left hand side moving through, so I just want to try and get around him a little bit. gone now? He's hiding from us. Right, now while we try and kind of get back to wherever Hosana has disappeared to now, let's send you back across to Brent Leo Smith and find out where he's going to go now that he's left the Birminghams, and whether or not he's going to try and see if he can maybe find Tandy. Well, Hosana is on a serious mission. He's all of a sudden picked up the scent of something and is not stopping. His nose is to the ground the whole time, and he's going back and forth and looking up into the trees. So I wonder if there wasn't a kill somewhere here that he's now trying to find himself. I don't know if maybe Tandy, you never know. It could be possible. I'm going to try and just creep forward a little bit and see. The problem is he's changed direction completely. He's now going more in an easterly direction away from us. So he should just be here on our left-hand side. Can you see him, Craig? Okay, so he's moving away from where we are. So I just want to try and get into a situation where we can actually see him, but it's not really ideal terrain at all. You can see the grass is so long that all you can see is the grass wiggling as he's moving. Oh, there, did you see he just jumped? He pounced on something. What was that? I just saw him pouncing. I don't know what he managed to grab, but you can see the grass is still moving as he's walking away from us. So let's try and just get up to where he is, because it's very difficult in here to actually negotiate this whole section. There we go, over that. Hosana, where are you off to and what are you doing? It's difficult to follow him this morning because he literally is not keeping a direction at all. He's been west, he's been north, he's been south, he's been east, and just kind of bouncing around all over the place. And he's walking fast as well. That's what's making it difficult, because of how quickly he's moving. Try not to take my legs off in the process of doing all of this. Now, I've lost where he's gone. I don't know where he went. The last I saw him was moving around this section here, so I don't know if he's kind of gone through the thickets and just kind of moved off, but let's try and see if we can find him again and see exactly where he has gone. But while I do that, let's send you back across to Brent Leo Smith, who has found himself, well, another type of predator that also likes to skulk about, but this time the fringes of water. We are trying to. He's not making it very easy. He's kind of slinking through this grass, which he can move, as opposed to us, is just absolutely amazing to watch. He kind of just slinks around, and he disappears in 2 seconds. He's right in front of us, but all you can see is just grass moving, and this little leopard kind of every now and then pops its tail or its head up, and that's how you spot him. But otherwise, it's near impossible. Careful, Craig. That's going to hurt anybody that comes near it. Ow. Hang on. One to the leg. Nothing like a thorn tree to the shin to wake you up in the morning. Are we even going to be able to get through here? I don't think so. I don't know how we're going to do this. Hosana, every time we kind of link away, there he is. He's just in front of us, actually. He's coming straight back towards the... No, don't go that way now, Hosana. Every time we kind of link away, he stops right out in the open. As soon as we come back to us again, he does this, where he tries to kind of hide away from us. But let's try just get back one more time. Now, let's just try and get around here quickly. We should be able to get a view of him. I don't think he's going to provide us with the best view, but we should be able to get another view here shortly. We just got to get around all of this thicket and just see. The problem is the kind of areas that we're driving is so full of aardvark burrows. Oh, there we go. You're going to be out in the open for us for a little bit. There we go. Hello, Hosana. You are on a serious walkabout this morning. I don't know what he's trying to find, but his nose is glued to the ground, and you can see how fast he's walking. So, First Lady, I mean, leopards, I don't know if it's a photographic memory as much as it's a scent memory. They'll obviously recognize certain areas, and they'll be able to get into a situation where they can get to certain places by a memory of sight. But I think scent is a big part in them mapping their area and mapping where they're actually going and how they go about it. Now, I'm pretty sure we've got a big branch stuck in our car somewhere because it's making a very bad noise, but that's okay. It's as long as we just don't turn too extreme to the right. But Hosana, there's a nice little mound coming up, so I'm kind of hoping that he's going to go on top of the mound, but I don't think so. The way that he's walking around today, it's almost as if he's rather trying to find some sort of kill that maybe some other leopard has made. I don't know. It's kind of, that's the way it looks. It doesn't look like he's hunting something. It's more like he is smelling a kill. He looks up into the trees every now and then, and he goes from pretty much from Big Marula to Big Marula. So I was hoping he was going to go up onto this mound for us and just sit for a little bit, but it doesn't look like he's going to do so. It looks like he's going to continue on his search for whatever it is that he's looking for. There he goes, onto a nice big game path now, but at least we can see him a bit better. And it's amazing how quick they walk when they're like this. And you can see, imagine trying to track Hosana today, how his tracks would have just gone like this all over the place, and the quickness at which he's walked would have made it extremely difficult to have found this cat for any semblance of time. You would have had to have been lucky to bump into him on foot. It would have been really, really, very, very tough. So it goes to show why sometimes, we track these leopards and we think, oh, we're right here, and you'll hear a bird alarm call, or you'll hear something alarm call, and you'll think, yes, we're close, and then you realize actually just how fast they move, that you sometimes are way behind, but you just kind of trying to keep catching up, and they just keep moving ahead of you. So it's a good lesson as to how quickly our boy can move. And he's now changed direction again. We were going east. He's now completely turned around, and we're now heading west. And he's kind of walking with purpose deeper into Djuma again, which is good news. So I wonder what he sniffed. Maybe he sniffed out Thandi and Cub with a kill. I don't know. That's maybe what he's looking for, because the way that he's walking and the way that he keeps going to every single big tree and sniffing around at the base of them indicates to me that he is aware that there's somebody else around here, or some sort of food item that he could potentially get. Now, let's go around this thicket. So I'm just trying to keep an eye on him while negotiating this area. Remember, there's a lot of aardvark burrows here. Jeanette's Hosana is older by about 6 months, and bigger is also Hosana at this stage. Tumba will be a big boy, but he's, 6 months behind, so he's got a long way to go. And, 6 months is a long time in a young leopard's life. They grow quickly, and they, tend to put on weight quite fast. So Hosana is still the bigger of the two. But funny enough, in foot size, Tumba might actually edge Hosana in terms of his track. They have a very similar size track, the two boys. It's quite interesting to actually see the two of them kind of walking in similar areas, because it's almost, I don't think many people would be able to tell the difference between them. In fact, Tumba, the only thing, is maybe slightly bigger than Hosana's footprint. But I last saw him there. He's walking kind of parallel with us. I'm going to try and get to a point where, here we go, he might come straight towards us from here if we just stop. Let's see. He's directly behind that green bush over there, Craig. So I wonder if he's not going to pop out at some point. Let's see. No, he's going to keep coming further towards where we are by the looks of things. So let's just try and get around this thicket. And like I say, this is a bad place. I came here with Thandi once, and there was aardvark burrows everywhere and not pleasant to drive in. And that was back when there was no grass. Now with grass, it's going to be a little bit more kind of, not dangerous, but it's going to have to be a bit more cautious about the way that we're doing things. Also, you've got to try and stop having things like this poke me in the sides and catch on my earpiece cable, because we know how many of those are broken, but that's what does the damage to the earpiece cables. If you're wondering why we break them every now and then, it's because these things catch on the cable itself, and then as you go, so that then, pulls the cable and breaks it. They're quite thin little cables, and so you've got to be a bit careful with them. Whew, Hosana, you're making us work this morning. I feel like I'm exercising trying to keep up with him. It's constant turning and moving and shifting and changing, and let's try and see. Looks like he's actually gone stationary here, that he's not moving too much now. Let's have a look. I wonder if he maybe found himself a little meal here. Let's have a look. This is where I last saw him, and now he's kind of just, he's moving still. So the guys are saying to me that he's still moving, which is good news. So if we go back a little bit, we should get him. Sorry, Craig. He should pop out there somewhere. Clearly not now. Oh, there he comes. So you just see him kind of walking out a little bit and making out his spots between all the long grass is really not that easy, but there is a little bit of semblance of a leopard moving around. It's amazing the camouflage on these guys. Now, yes, you can see he's down the whole time. Where is he and what is he doing? Interesting. I don't know what he's up to, but he's definitely following with something for sure. Alright, let's just go back and try and keep up with him. Now, I believe Taylor's Shame is having a major amount of gremlins at the moment, so she's struggling a little bit to get any semblance of signal, and I think Brent is also not in the best area. Our car doesn't sound great either in terms of turning. It seems like we've got a major log or something that's stuck in our turning circle. Now also I can't go anywhere. We're kind of blocked in by two different vehicles, so we're going to just try and wait for them and let them carry on. Come on, Jigger. There we go. So sometimes Jigger is a little bit of a handful when it comes to off-roading. Definitely not in the same league as Rusty. Rusty's far more powerful than what Jigger is. Now, I think Hassan is just lying somewhere here. I can't see him at the moment. He's in this long grass to my right-hand side, so somewhere in that general vicinity over there. And maybe found himself a little bit of shade, and he's going to try and rest and lie down. I can maybe think about moving into that area. Let's just try and see. The problem with him is that he moves so much that you never know where he's going to go. So I'll try and just kind of move back a little bit here, and then we can just try and maybe point our nose towards Taxon, and maybe we'll get lucky with being able to kind of see him somewhere here, because Aubrey's going to go that side. Looks like there might be a massive hole in front of me, but we'll risk it. So he is lying down, which means that if we just get in here somewhere, we might be able to see a bit of him at least. Now, Sky, I suppose sometimes you do worry about driving over one of our cats in long grass like this. The thing is, though, is the cats are very nimble, and so they'll get out your way long before you even would touch them. I think it's more you worry about driving over things like tortoises and millipedes and snakes and those kind of things is a lot more of a risk than the cats. So you've got to just take it slow, and generally, though, if you move fairly slowly while you do it, most of the time, everything else will actually get out of your way and will move out of the way of the tires. They feel the vibration of this big vehicle coming, and they start to get out the way. So as long as you're not rushing and moving too fast, generally it will be okay. But finally, our little prince has decided to settle down and to just take it easy, which is good news, because it's been a bit of a struggle trying to keep up with him, and at least now we get to appreciate his beauty a little bit more. Just now it was all about just trying to keep up with him more than anything else. But very cool to see. And I mean, look at that camouflage. You can see why they can be such successful hunters when you're in long grass like this. And any antelope that came past, if he had to go completely flat down with his ears pinned back, it would be so tough to spot him in grass like this. So hopefully he's going to kind of settle down, and we'll have him again for this afternoon, which would be nice. Next, no, I don't think Hassan is marking his territory just yet. I don't think he quite has grasped the concept of having his own territory. I think he's just happy at the moment to be moving around and just kind of finding food and doing his thing. He has scent marked in places, but I don't think he's set up a territory as per se just yet. The good thing for him, though, is that Tingana is still clinging on enough that maybe, just maybe, he might be able to grow enough to claim that territory that Tingana is in at the moment. So it just kind of squeeze between Hukumuri and Quarantine and Gajima, and make sure that he kind of just takes this little Chitwa southeastern Juma area, a little bit of Little Gowrie, and just that's how he's going to start, and hopefully then we'll try and expand from there, much like Quarantine did. It's a very similar thing to what Quarantine did. So he's not really marking and actively patrolling a territory yet. He's kind of just moving within his home range, but he is every now and then he'll kind of mark somewhere and spray, and so I suppose slowly but surely he is trying to set himself up, but he's still a long way from that. I mean, just remember, he's only 2 years old, which is a very young boy, and still got a long way to go, although there are some enigmas that happen. There's a male down in the south called White Dam Male, and he's 2.5 and mating and doing his thing. So it is possible that Hosana could be setting up, but I think it's a little on the early side for him to be actually getting getting a territory to speak of as yet. Are you now going to move again, Hosana? Have you decided that the grass is itchy and that there's too much of it, maybe? Yep, there we go. So all of that for him just to get up and start moving once again. Now you can see he's going to come right past us, so I'm just going to let him kind of move in that direction, and then he's going to ghost through this long grass and carry on. Now, I'm pretty sure that this cat is going to keep moving for most of the morning. It's great because he's not a sleepy cat. At least he's moving around, but it's going to make life quite tough for us from here. Here is, at least, it looks like it might open up a little bit more, and as he heads back towards sort of Drakensberg and Mamba Road, which is where we're heading at the moment, it does open out. There's a nice open clearing, so maybe he can find himself a nice little mound or something to go and lie on for us. But to that is that he is pretty tolerant at the moment. It's a situation where Hosana is moving around Tingana all the time. They have been seen together, and so I would say he is very tolerant at this stage. Now, I'm going to just reposition Craig, because otherwise we're not going to see anything in the way that he's positioned himself. So let's just get back here quickly. So he's up and moving again, and almost looked like he was stalking something and then just decided to stop. I don't know why he's doing that, but he kind of stalks a little bit and then stops and stalks a little bit and stops. And I don't know if it's maybe something small in the grass, like little button quails that he's going after, or maybe it's something like a scrub hare that he's busy chasing, but he's definitely kind of interested in something, and then he just sits down and takes it easy. It's starting to get very hot, so I think also what happens is he gets into the sun and then realizes, hang on a second, why am I hunting in the sun? Let me try and find some shade rather. But look at that expression. Isn't that not the cutest thing? He's the funniest cat, this. Definitely must win for the most character, that's for sure. He is all over the show and really does provide some incredible behavior, stuff that a lot of us, while we have witnessed in small doses in cats, he just exudes all of these funny little attributes like following Buffalo around, and also his complete boldness in front of other leopards. He just doesn't care. Even if Tingana wasn't tolerant of him, he kind of just walks up to Tingana and makes him tolerant by flopping down next to him and just kind of giving him those big puppy eyes and just saying, Dad, I'm here. I'm not really a threat at this stage. You just take it easy. And it's amazing actually to watch the kind of relationship between the two of them. Keisha, it's possible that Hosana and Tingana would come to blows. I mean, Tingana is starting to age now, and Hosana is obviously starting to get a flood of hormones in the form of testosterone, and he's going to want to push and become dominant. I just don't know if Tingana is going to hold on long enough for Hosana to be the one to push him out. He might. It's going to be interesting to see, but it would have to be another year, I would say, until Hosana is really ready to mount a serious challenge for a proper territory in these areas. So they might come to blows, but I think it's more likely that, Quarantine and Tingana, where are you going? You can't come this way. Now I'm in your way, and I feel bad, but you decided to come this way. You had lots of places to go. So you can see he's kind of just coming to say hello to all of you. I think he's missed everybody. He's been a little bit on his own sort of path these last few weeks and kind of doing all kinds of things, and so we haven't spent much time with him. So maybe he's just missed everyone and has decided to come say hello. So he's come around the back of the car now, and he's just sitting here right behind Craig, really kind of sniffing about and just taking it very easy. I think he's actually too close for Craig even to be able to film him. He's literally by the back right tire at the moment, and he's going to just slink past us and kind of carry on and go off behind that little thicket. So we'll just try and kind of keep up with him and keep moving as he does. He should pop out just here on my right hand side. So now while I kind of just keep up with him and see what he gets up to. No, he's now decided he's going a different way. So while we try and work out which way Hosana wants to go, let's send you back across to Brent Leo Smith with his dad and see what his dad is up to and whether his dad is any more as agile as what Hosana is being this morning.
So he's on the other side of this little bush next to us, so we'll just go around it. Let's make sure there's no stumps in the grass. Where is the little chief? Ah, there he is. Okay, he's just behind that little phlogia there, that little white berry bush. Let's just try to get into a spot. There we go. There he is. He's found a nice shady spot now. Oh, he's a good-looking boy. Oh, it's been a really busy morning. Lions, leopards, more leopards, big elephant, bulls. And it sounds like Taylor, who's been searching for elephants for days, has found some ellies as well. So we're going to sit here, but we're going to send you across to Miss McCurdy and some elephants. Wow, look at that. Isn't he absolutely gorgeous? The little prince reclining in the shade. Now, he's a leopard who doesn't read the rule books, and he might move quite a bit during the heat of the day today and see what else he can catch. So it is always great to have the little prince back on Djuma. And hopefully this afternoon he's going to be giving us some great movement, and maybe he'll be on the hunt. Hopefully Tristan will have fixed his vehicle and gremlins by then, and I'm looking forward to a gremlin-free safari this afternoon. And there we go. He's still awake. He's not quite flat cat yet. Well, his name, Hosana, means the little chief or little prince, and Ravinda says he should be called Prince Charming. He indeed is a charming leopard. Definitely one of my favorites over the years, and it's so special to have watched him grow from a little sausage all the way to this massive male leopard that he's becoming. Now, what a morning after a couple of days devoid of cats, lions, leopards, and lots of ellies. So it's been a really successful Sunday morning safari, but remember, we're going to do it again in a few short hours, so join us then. From all of us at Safari Live, and of course, the little chief, see you soon.